and problem of sexual harassment at workplace. It's indeed a great pleasure for all of us to have her here, and actively associated with social and cultural activities for securing justice for women and children. She, again, I reiterate, is the national spokesperson for BJP and had been successfully articulating, advocating, and campaigning for the policies, programs, and campaigns. And she participates in various television shows on matters of national and international importance. Without wasting any more time on introducing such a person who is well known to everyone, the platform is over to you, madam. It's all yours. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kartika, and the organizers of this program, and all those who are academically inclined and have chosen to join this discussion this evening. So it's there is no debate actually. It's more like thoughts on the subjects of women joining workforce. So when I look at this subject, women and technology, there are a couple of thoughts which immediately strike anybody's brain. One is that we are all consumers, and today most of the sales are happening online, and technology itself is a product where we are buying things either through it or the technology itself. From smartphones to computers to iPads to various other household goods to dresses, we are consumers. The second is, it's a networking tool. So the networking tool, women need to keep up with the family, friends, and social setups, and that's one responsibility which usually women socially are undertaking. So we again become consumers, and also at times we are victims of profiling, because that's what happens on social media. The third aspect is people like Dr. Kartika and several other women who are the workforce behind technology. There are women who teach technology, there are women who produce technology, there are women who are programmers, there are women who understand technology and at times even be part of the supply chain in manufacturing technology. So that's the fourth stream of technology, from customers, consumers to creators. And last but not the least is that we ourselves are subjects of technology. And I'll demonstrate how we are subjects of technology. We are subjects of technology because many a times women faces are getting sold to promote a product. All kinds of products are available online, and they will have a feminine voice. For example, I normally have that question that Alexa's voice is a female's voice, and usually depicting women as subservient, because you are mostly in the assisting or assistance job and not the voice controlling mechanisms. Depicting women as beautiful faces, blonde, hair color, ugly, beautiful, tall, short, and men depicted as smart, businesslike, etc. And these are inherent biases which exist in the social setups and in the mindsets of people, which also further gets amplified and reflected through artificial intelligence mechanisms, AI mechanisms, because AI treats us as subject. So he's a doctor and she's a housemaid. He's a businessman and she's a child carer, things like that. Now these are biases, and these biases is something which women all through the centuries have been fighting against, and it is so much anti our culture because here thought and Shakti, and especially we are having this discussion during Navratras, where most of the force and wit and strength is assigned to the feminine body and brain, and men bow before it. In terms of the goddess of knowledge is not a god, not a manly figure, but it's a feminine god. And we are people who have worshipped the feminine gods through our centuries. Now, for a society like that, it is really not surprising when we compare ourselves with the West. We've done pretty well. IT has been quite a leveler because in terms of sheer numbers and placements, Indian women have done very well when it comes to STEM subjects. And it's not me cooking up a sense of pride amongst my women folk and amongst the men who also take a lot of pride in having bright colleagues and workers. But it's the statistics which is speaking for itself. And in a while, I'll share this with you, which will give us all a sense of pride. But that doesn't mean we have achieved and we have done what we wish to achieve or where we want to lead. So we are basically witnessing two pivotal women-centric phenomena at this time. And one, there is unparalleled inclusion of women in the Indian economy, which is basically boosted by technology platforms. And two, women are increasingly pushing the boundaries of technology development itself. So inclusion and pushing the boundaries, both are happening when women are beneficiaries, basically. And technology today, if I say, is quite an integral part of our socioeconomic growth story also. And we house the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, which is competing only with US, China, and India. So, but for the hardware neglect which has happened, I'm sure we would have even crossed these data, because in terms of data consumption, I think we are highest. And over about 50,000 startups have been created, which is about $500 billion in value over last decade. Only in a short period of 10 years, this is the kind of inclusion and this is the kind of workforce we have created. And all this has been powered by technology, and the trajectory, which has been pretty steep as compared to any other industry, is most importantly multi-layer technology network, which is India's stack, which has led to unprecedented financial and digital inclusion. And this is a change which is happening not just for the elites of the society, people like Dr. Kartika and women who are Mars mission women who have given this country the technology, the cutting edge over everybody else. It's not happening amongst these elite women, but it's happening at the very, very grassroots, where women have to open their bank accounts, transact small monies like a few thousand rupees, receiving, giving, making digital payments, engaging in small savings. Even at that level, the change is happening. So, of course, we celebrate our women who are professors, who are technocrats, who sent the mission to Mars, who were participant in ISRO. We celebrate those women like nothing. I mean, I think they are my heroes. At the same time, we also have a very, very basic requirement of women to be included in everyday life and everyday duties towards nation building, where they have to take care of children, they have to manage their households, they have to send their children to school, manage small farms. Even they are the ones who have benefited out of technological inclusion and use of technology. So small farmers, small shops they are running, small businesses they may be running, cottage industry that they may be engaging in. They may be in, in your area, I would say the craftswomen who are making such beautiful saris, they could be using technology, weavers. So I think inclusion of women through technology has been a very, very positive story for the country. And number of women employed in the IT industry in India has actually seen a rapid increase over the past 10 years, with more than 30% employees are today female employees, which contrasts with stagnation or decline in the participation of women in IT in many Western countries. Many Western countries cannot claim that sort of inclusion of women in the STEM and IT industry. And that speaks volumes about our society and the good things that we can rely upon. And according to NESCOM, women and IT scorecard, India, which was a study undertaken with the UK's Open University, women represented 46.8% of the postgraduates in IT and computing during the academic year of 2014 and 15. I think that's something to celebrate. As Indians and as a woman, I take a lot of pride in this number because it's a study which is not conducted by government. It's a study which is not conducted by Indian. It's a study which is conducted by IT sector and a foreign university. So people who place more reliance on foreign data, even they cannot argue with this. So far as I'm concerned, I rely on Indian data, but even if you want to rely on a foreign data and you think foreign data and foreign universities are better, then this is their numbers, these are not my numbers. So which is basically, if we look at this data, then this is double the rate seen in UK. And women now make up for about 34% of the IT workforce in India. And with majority of these workers are usually under 30 years. So that means we are heading towards a 50-50 gender parity in STEM graduates. We are heading towards a more equitable social setup. And going back to my theme of Mangalyaan, and that mission was launched a few years ago with the iconic image that captured millions of hearts, was that of scientists behind the achievement, a group of women. And I remember I had a joint workshop in the Science Center in Delhi with Tessie Thomas, who we all call a missile woman. So she was heading the that project. She's the project director for the missiles. And at that time, I still remember that these women with Veeni, the flowers in their heads, nice saris, and with all the gold ornaments around their themselves, and middle-aged like me, fascinating figures, were making such beautiful news that how women could push boundaries in their respective fields and yet stay behind the scenes. So which is worth noting, that Indian women are bright as it can be, and they head the STEM cells and amongst far greater in terms of height and respect amongst their peer countries. And I remember I had a conversation with a journalist, a female journalist that too, who was wearing torn jeans. And you remember the controversy which recently India saw on torn jeans. So she came up to me and and around that time somebody again made some silly remark, and she said, "What is it that modern women mean to you?" So I said, modern women mean to me is someone who can think for herself, has a head over her shoulder, is capable of taking decision. That is the modern women. But India, these are ancient women. Indian women from ancient times have been doing this. So they are as modern as it can get. They say, what about jeans and things? I say, I give a damn to how one likes to dress up. I think it's an issue of choice. Whoever wishes to dress up the way they like, but simply because somebody is dressed in sari, that doesn't make her backward and regressive. And that's my take on it. I said, these women are my starlets. These women who are dressed with, who are middle-aged, um, some of them, not all, but some of them on the heavier side like me, fat and plump, who give a damn to size A, B, C, D, E. And they believe in the value and worth of their brain more than the shape of the body. And they know who they are and stand amongst uh, uh, a room full of men with confidence, and they know what they are capable of. So that's my role model, and that's what I call pratik of Shakti in my thought. So I fail to understand why a woman has to be size 0 and display her body, because according to me that is subservience to a different gender. Because somebody wants to see you in a certain way, you're prepared to look a certain way. So having that, I mean, there's nothing wrong in looking a certain way, but that should be your choice, not imposed on your brain through various societal models. So the societal model which works best with people like me is a freedom of thought, and that is a complete freedom, and freedom to achieve what you think you are capable of. And that is why I said my role models are women in STEM, because that's usually considered a field which is dominated by men. But in India, it is as much dominated by women, and we have the same capacity which others do not realize. So we saw this time, and that beautiful movie which has been shot by, again, a foreign journalist, and Radha Bharadwaj is also there, where these Mission Mars or something. So I said, the deep science which ISRO represents, and the height of scientific achievements which humans have been trying to achieve, whether it's mechanical science or it's technical science or it's mathematical calculation, which requires a different kind of skill set. And my folk have performed really well. So these are my role models, and that's why I, when I look at even COVID management, which all of us are struggling with, and which is also again a scientific subject, and which too has been led by women actually. Whether it's the nursing care, it's the technicians in the hospital, it's the doctors, it's a challenging job where women had to leave their children. Men also have left the children, but it's never considered the responsibility of men. It's mostly considered the responsibility of women to take care of the family and put the family together. So grateful to all those who stood up to all this and took care not only of their families and relatives and friends, but stepped out, and country needed their support. So they supported whatever was the need of the hour. And that's why I want to celebrate all these Corona warriors, especially the women folk in technology and microbiology. And one name which comes to my mind is the mind of Sasikala Devi. That post COVID-19 outbreak, initially we were importing so many diagnostic toolkits. And Sasikala Devi, a researcher and academician at Shastra, that's how you pronounce, Shastra University, deemed to be a university in Tamil Nadu. I met some students from there, and I was at Nagarkoil. Then at that point in time, I met these young kids. She put all her expertise and deep learning of artificial intelligence to a fantastic use and sourced over 5 lakh X-ray images as database from Stanford University to develop her prototype. And a lung expert, and it's an affordable uh, prognostic tool for early detection of cardiovascular and pulmonary disease, which is a result of COVID-19, claiming an accuracy of about 90%. And feeding the data of the Indian population into the system will has made it furthermore efficient for use in the country. And her innovation is one of the winners at MyGov COVID-19 Sri Shakti Challenge. And this is a contest which was developed to tackle COVID-19 solutions. And she also won the award of special category of RISE or RAISE 2020, a global AI summit organized by Ministry of Electronics and IT. Now, why would I not celebrate women like Sasikala Devi, who again stood up to the challenge, and whether it was AI systems or using medical knowledge to develop better techniques in early detection of cardiovascular disease. So I think it's a day we must celebrate these heroes and keep teaching. There is a lot to celebrate, and there is a lot to learn from our present system. So I think a repeat message has to be sent out, and as much as we can send that or reinforce that message is what is needed. The other name which I would like to take today is Aksha Megawat, and fascinating with internet, always kept her looking for the next trend and change. Machine learning graduate at Apple. She's an engineer, and she also decided to make a tech lead, which is DRI, for global expansion and hyperlocal language models at the Cupertino-based tech giant, and a computer science graduate from BITS Pilani. Aksha landed a graduate research fellowship at Carnegie Mellon University to explore cutting-edge research in machine learning and data science to stay relevant. She advised aspiring techies to look out for online courses in technology and spend a mere 20% of their time to think of what the next problem would be. Just imagine, the Jyotish will tell you what the future looks like. Now here you're developing an AI which is going to tell you what the future looks like. And a woman works at that. Not through the astronomical planet positions. I'm sure women can even do that, or must be doing that. But through AI-based technology that, look, these are the trends, these are the feeder mechanism, this is how a lot of chat is happening on Twitter or Facebook or WhatsApp. And this is where it's taking to. This is where you're expecting riots to happen. This is where you're expecting these particular people are going to push these handles. This is something which AI can predict, and somebody who's intersecting technology, society, philosophy. This young techie's motto is value time, and in time you will be valued. So as a youngster, I found it so very interesting when I was trying to figure out all the achievements of women in technology. So this name of this Aksha Megawat came to my mind, and I loved what she said, that value time, and in time you will be valued. So I think at least people like us can very well relate to it, that we have, I think, valued time, worked very hard, and it's time you're valued. We all recognize this principle, but coming from a youngster, I think this is very motivating, and people like us who feel future of the country and the youth is insecure get very encouraged that that's not true. Future is very, very secure, and these youngsters are very, very bright. They know way to lead their own lives and how to take country forward. Uh, Another name which I want to quote today is Supriya Rathi Bagdi. Uh, Again, a tech entrepreneur expanding the horizons of robotic entertainment through her startup RoboVR, which was founded just in 2016. She is deeply passionate about robotics. Sports taught her discipline and teamwork. In partnership with IIT Bombay, RoboVR has been organizing annual robotic sports championship, giving a futuristic spin to 30 human sports like basketball, football, archery, boxing, cricket, golf, tug of war, skating, arm wrestling, cycling, and relay race. It also has water sports like rowing, swimming, as well as Quidditch, making dreams come true in Harry Potter, Potterheads. And last year, the championship was sponsored by Microsoft and government program of NSDC, National Skill Development Corporation. So again, robotics, I feel, since most of you are academics and from the field of tech education, I feel robotics is something which is my dream project. And I work with IIT Delhi because that's part of my constituency. And there is one AI professor who I have been in touch with. I say, you know, AI and writing programs could be a job of a IT graduate maybe, or people who have understood mathematics, who understand progression, integration, differentiation, etc. But making a robo should not be limited to those people. Let's take robos to school dropouts, because technical hands can construct technology, and the super intelligent brains, they may be school dropouts, but they are very intelligent people. So let's harness that energy and let's set up a tech center. And they were very keen to work with me. I was very keen to work with them, and I spoke to the director of IIT Delhi also. And let's hope we end up setting up one such center, especially to have inclusion, not only of girl child, but of men also, who are school dropouts into robotics. That's my dream project. I want to do it at a smaller level, but I'm purposely sharing this that maybe all of you also find this relevant, that when we talk of society and we talk of technology, or we talk of any part of India, I think nobody can be left behind. So people who have a tendency to be left behind, we all have to put in that extra effort to bring all of them on board. And this seems like an opportunity. I don't know how much I can bring it truly, but I have good intentions. I work with my heart, and I feel maybe I succeed in making a small change which will have a ripple effect across the country, and more people will come forward to take this forward. And Brenda Darden Wilkerson, she's the president and CEO of AnitaB.org, Maggie Inba Mutaya as managing director of AnitaB.org India. Maggie Inba Mutaya is basically dedicated to empowering girls and women in the field of STEM. And she's someone who's pursued a computer engineering degree in 1990s from NIT, Tiruchirappalli. And she was one of the 9 girls in the engineering class of 40. And hence all too aware of the disparity, starting her professional journey as a software engineer in Infosys. In 1996, she founded Optimus Prime Solutions to make technology tools available for entrepreneurs, and Mandrim, a non-profit organization driven to make information accessible in vernacular languages. So maybe, you know, when we talk of Tamil and Malayali divide, and Hindi divide and English divide, maybe these tools can come handy to put all of us together on the same map, and that's the map of our country. And throughout her journey, she has noted that women are the first seen through their household responsibilities, before their capabilities and the values she has to offer are even considered. Now, this is a bias which I'm sure Dr. Kartika will agree with me. All of us must have faced in our life. And at the same time, we all have recovered from it in our own respective capacities. And the other side of the story is that the heart of a woman, no matter who she is, what she is, where she comes from, remains at home and is tied to her family very deeply. And those deep roots are part of the value chain which our society has to offer. And through the centuries, the kind of onslaught we as country, culture, civilization have gone through, we withstood all that because of the family ties we have. And a lot of learning comes from homes, and a lot of learning is what women transmit to their siblings, to their families, the care and nurture, from dance to singing to prayers to puja. All this comes from the women at home. And I think, and on the other side, in modern words, if I can say that the children have to keep their wardrobe in a certain way, their lives have to be organized in a certain way, they have to be Atmanirbhar in a certain way, polish their shoes and tie their shoelaces or iron their clothes. All these skills are also coming from the mothers and the women at home, who may actually be working or struggling with several other things. But they are the ones who are transmitting these knowledge skills and life skills to the family at home. So a lot to celebrate. And that's why I say, wherever women are, their heart remains at home, and they care for their families which they are born in, or they care for the families in which they live after marriage, their own children, family, surroundings, pets, animals on the street, trees in the garden. They are bothered about these things which probably other genders not really so concerned. I mean, some of them are hyper concerned. A lot of men are concerned, and men also have a feminine side of care with them. So though I may have faced some kind of discrimination in growing up years, but I don't want to be discriminatory when I'm speaking or saying things towards or show any bias towards men. I have no bias. I think I'm one person who believes in gender equality to the core, who believes that qualities of heart and head are common to both men and women, and they have nothing to do with the genders. And laughingly, I say I've seen very brave women, and I've seen very timid men. I've seen very honest men and very corrupt women. So qualities of a heart and head have nothing to do with the gender. That's my first equality lesson, which I would want to share. Another person who I celebrate quite a bit is Nivruti Roy. I met her for the first time in 2014. It was a NASCOM event at Bangalore. And since then, we've not been in constant touch with each other, but we've remained admirers of each other. And Nivruti heads Intel, and that is one company which I again talk or have very high values associated with, because Intel employs highest number of women. So it has very high number of women employees, is headed by a woman. And she's someone who has risen from the ranks and world's foremost technology company, which brings multi-dimensional project experience to pushing the boundaries of Indian research and development. So I take a lot of pride when I mention the name of Nivruti Roy. So Vani Kola, again, founder of Kalari Capital, pioneered role in development of early stage capital development and indigenous technology. And Kalari reminds me of Kalari, the art of coloring. And I wish if we can revive that for women, it will be something I look forward to. And I'll be the first student if I can be at my age, and considering all the physical drawbacks one has added over the years. But color is something I wish I could till date learn. um, Education, technology, to several technologies. I mean, I have a whole list. Not to, and list is rather long. I can just go on and on, but keeping the time in mind, I really, I would take your permission to whether to uh, go about the list or end the list here. While I may end the list here, I still celebrate all those names who I have not mentioned. And I have not mentioned not because they are to be celebrated less, but because they are to be celebrated more. And it's just that a paucity of time. But I think um, Mabel Chako to Jayalakshmi Manohar to Chaitra Chidanand, women who have overscored in every respect, and thus whether it's purchases or it's managing funds and finance, these girls, these ladies have an answer for all the problems of the world. And when it comes to data platforms at the edge, so InfiBeam to Texcon to Shraddha Sharma, Your Story. Again, I've known Shraddha. I have known Shraddha for a fairly long time. And when she launched her platform right in the beginning, I worked with her. And there was a male colleague that time, a young man in 20s, who came to interview me for her platform. So I think when it comes to science and technology, the list is rather long. And women in India, whether it's entrepreneurship or empowerment foundation, I think technology is the way forward. And I will put it differently, that mostly it's the how women get pushed out. Women who start with a very, very bright mark sheet in their class 10th, 12th, and even in their STEM graduation certificates, MTech and BTech, etc. How do they get edged out when it comes to PhDs or heading platforms or heading technology companies? What happens? I think what really happens is that the family responsibilities take on, and the heart of a woman, as I said, remains at home. So they make certain alterations to their career choices. And because of those alterations to their career choices, and as I say that age, the biological age definitely is a factor which is related to reproductive years, which kind of sets a different priority. I don't call it a regression, but I call it a list of priority. And we have all gone through it. And when the priorities change, not because society has forced, I don't share that agenda that society has forced. I say I do things as I wanted, and my heart, my body needs a few things, and that nurture, care, child, I would give anything if my child needs it. So that's how a woman's heart is, and that's what most of the women think like. So the flexi working hours is one issue which mostly women have. So for regular jobs and regular things, whether your output is as much or not, but you have to be on the desk for that many hours, is something women will constantly struggle with. But if you can finish this much work, you may take half hour, you may take 1 hour, you may take 20 hours, or you may break it into 6 hours period, or you may work when everybody else has gone off to sleep from the comfort of your desk at home. These are things which will help women to get more employment and to get ahead, and never have that that she did not work for 5 years or went out of the workforce for 7 years or 10 years, something like that. So in that sense, I think the technology has given us that option, which earlier the normal mechanical world did not give us that option, but digital world is giving us that option. So digital world and learning these technologies and using them to the core is giving us those options. And especially one has to see opportunity even when such travesty is happening all around. See, pandemic is something which we are all undergoing, and it has changed us as people also. And a lot of work we can do from home, and a lot of expenses can also be cut down because you are home. A lot of extra things one spends money on, a lot of extra things you need is also cut down. It has also shown us the way that end of the day, how much does one need? So work from home is one culture which helps more women to come on the platform, and which helps more women to remain employed. So it's an opportunity. Pandemic is also an opportunity. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. And so location, the choice of location is what you can choose, and that is fantastic. So this has opened a world of opportunities to women in the areas of core competencies around networking, new generation application design, cloud platform architecture, support, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, cybersecurity, etc. And now we have option to work remotely, and even from that flexi work hours that I talked about, instead of rigid system, office to home and home to office, that rigidity of the system, or working on weekends when everything else is taken care of, you can choose your own time, that remains, and that's a plus plus. And according to NESCOM, it's about a third of India's technology services labor force is made by women, and work from home opportunities and back offices can actually help very, very qualified, learned women in small towns, cities, to get access to better opportunities. And this is more so in cases where they are not able to move to bigger cities for work, because at times, I would say, if data center is in Gurgaon or data center is in, say, Chennai, somebody is in Tiruchirappalli or in Nagarkoil, a very qualified engineer, and she has to go and start living in Chennai or come to Gurgaon or go wherever, maybe having ailing parents at home, maybe having parent-in-laws who are not doing so well, age is not on their side, maybe the only daughter of parents, so many other responsibilities. So what is the choice? Do you leave them behind where your heart is and go for work, or settle for a job which is maybe teaching in a school and not doing what you're qualified to do? You're an engineer, you should actually be working as technologies, but you choose to teach maths, and you say, I'll teach maths and science and I'll teach physics, I can't take on this job. And you're not qualified to be a teacher because you need to do your teacher's training, etc., which you've not done. So you will probably be employed in a school which is a private school, maybe ad hocism, etc., etc. So much below your regular pay scale which you're capable of earning, and probably 1 hour of work which you can put in designing a web design, you'll probably get more money than doing that small-time job in a town, in a small school. But I'm not putting any job as less or more. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm only putting the career profiles of women and ladies who have the capacity to be part of Mission Mars and design a program so that your rockets can take off, have the brain power to do all that, but is not able to exploit her capacity. I'm only talking about that. if there exists an option of making a platform or just thinking about, working from wherever you can and send your inputs through data mission or special transport system, why would anyone in any obscure corner of this planet do that? And I think technology offers us all those options. I see a very, very bright future for ladies. I also see cybersecurity learning has to be more, because I've seen many cases of cyberbullying to blackmailing to all kinds of wrongdoings. And in terms of that, we need to warn youngsters pretty soon in schools and ages where we see a phenomena that online safety security, cybersecurity, especially for minors below the age of 18, and the most vulnerable age group is 16 to 18. The physical changes are happening in the body, the mental capacity may not be as much, and chances of being blackmailed or being exploited by somebody online, stalking, all those are very normal things. And we need to be careful and teach the kids how to remain secure online, what do's and don'ts. And cybersecurity itself is a big threat. Their identity could be stolen by someone, identity theft, misusing the handle, all those things are real possibilities. So cybersecurity is something which we think those who are not tech savvy, as much tech savvy, need to be taught. So cybersecurity is something I worry a lot about, because I've seen those cases in the courts. It's very sad. So youngsters can end up doing some silly things and then end up committing suicides, etc., which is something I fear for my, that very thought disturbs me. So I think as grown-ups, we need to secure them a lot. And so I would say that, and the next thing, some of our colleagues and women who probably are not aware that they are being profiled on social media. They are being targeted in terms of, and each one is dealing with so many psychological and mental issues. Each one of us, I would say that from physical strain to mental strain to social problems, each one goes through. But chances of being targeted by a company for selling their products is far more for women, which also we have to be careful about. I'll share a story. I was testing one of the social media platforms, and that is before I started working on this data protection bill. I was sitting with a friend of mine, a friend as in not really a friend, she was a journalist, and she was asking me about the kind of work you're doing, etc., etc. I said, look, I am unbiased totally. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out what happens in this world. So let's make a attempt. So she said, what? I said, I'm keeping my iPad right here. And let's chat and let's have a social chat. She said, what? I say, with my age, so many things one felt one could do, but one didn't do it because age and times were very different. But I think, how about wearing a black dress and wearing red pumps with it and carrying a red clutch with it? Now, I'm having this conversation on purpose, because I'm neither going to wear a black dress, nor am I going to wear red shoes, nor am I going to ever wear a red clutch in my hand. I mean, this is not what I can do at this age, or I will even attempt. But I'm purposely saying it to know how AI works. And I said this, lo and behold, Facebook kept sending me messages one after the other within an hour or two of the shopping list, the red shoes, the red bags, and the red things. And I showed it to her. I said, look, here is the proof. This is what I have been asking you, that you're being listened to. You're being heard. Now, I have not given that permission. None of us have given that permission. But this is how AIs are operating. And that is what women have to be careful about. And this is what we all need to work at, that. And this is more like a marketing strategy. So even men have to be careful about that. You know, you talk of a belt and suddenly you'll see, or you search for belt and suddenly you'll see, for a week you'll get all the messages about belt. Then I was talking to someone who runs a small business in Delhi, and said, I make garments and I sell it to stores. I said, what about online selling? He said, I tried to put it up on Amazon and suddenly I saw there was a dip in my business. I said, how did that happen? Then we researched, and then it was like all the product that we are getting on e-commerce site, and which is something of an alarm which we as Indians and women in technology must discuss. So if, say, you want to promote a sari maker from Coimbatore, all of a sudden you see that it's a red sari with a black border, which is doing very well, and suddenly there is a lot of demand for this combination. Everybody is wanting this. So this particular artist who produced this, his once the sale tips a certain number or a certain profile is created, his product will show on the 10th page of the search model, and a copy of this sari will be produced somewhere in China, and this will become a Amazon basic, come on the first page or the second page and start selling. So the original producer will be shifted down and the counterfeit will come forward. Now, these are the kind of biases which algorithms are producing. And I'm on purpose sharing this on this platform, that when we talk of fair AIs, all of you are in the field and all of you have to understand that these are not just marketing strategies. These biases, if allowed, will actually kill our original businesses and be very harmful to our social setups, because equality, equity, employment is what results to peace and prosperity in society. So dealing with technology with your head in place is something which women must start teaching their children back home and learn themselves. And that is what I wish to communicate today. I think I've spoken enough. I don't even know how much I've spoken. So I will rest myself and rest everyone else who has been stuck to the screen. Thank you all for having me speak to all of you. I really poured my heart out, but I just pray and wish that I made some sense. With these words, Jai Hind, and thank you very, very much.
So thank you, madam. Thank you very much. So you have enlightened us on women role in society. So now we have a few vice chancellors also. We will take their comments quickly, and after that, house will be open to interact with Meenakshi ji. So women participants are encouraged since the topic is women and technology. So I request everyone, if you want to interact with Meenakshi ji, you please go to the participants, and there you can find raise hand option, so that we will get to know that you wanted to interact with Meenakshi ji. Madam, and another thing we wanted to tell you, I keep on getting messages that they cannot join since our capacity is 100. So it shows what Meenakshi Lekhi ji is. So now I request Dr. Bhavana Joshipura ji to give her comments quickly. She is a AWC member also. Bhavana ji, are you there? Bhavana Joshipura ji is...
Yes.
Yes, yes, madam. Please give quick comments. Or if you want to ask questions, you can. Bhavana ji, please unmute yourself. Yes, yes. Now you can again. Please unmute, madam. Now you can speak.
Hello.
Yes, madam, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Quickly.
Meenakshi, namaskar. I am from All India Women's Conference.
Thank you very much.
हम मिले हैं पहले आपके
जी
पुस्तक के विमोचन में और
जी
हाँ तब आप हमारी वो
आपके साथ मैंने बहुत काम किया है।
हाँ काम किया है। हम वो आते हैं ना शिल्पकला उत्सव में,
जी
तो आप इनोग्रेशन किया था। वेरी नाइस। आपका स्पीच बहुत अच्छा रहा और ये वुमेन इन टेक्नोलॉजी रियली वेरी मच इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट एंड हम चाहते हैं कि हम AIWC में भी ये सब्जेक्ट लेके जाए, क्योंकि अब वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हूँ तो हम भी ये करेंगे और थोड़ा NGO के लिए तो थोड़ा एक थीम बना के काम करना पड़ेगा। तो कैसे काम करना चाहिए फॉर NGO। अभी मैं बताऊं कि एक कॉमनवेल्थ की मैं मीटिंग में शामिल हुई थी, वहां मेरा लर्निंग प्रोसेस था, तो उसमें भी यही सब्जेक्ट था। तो ये पूरे विश्व से सब प्रोफेसर्स जुड़े थे, यहाँ भी सब एकेडमिक्स ज्यादा है और मैं भी PhD हूँ सर। यस, आई हैव स्टडीड PhD एंड मैं प्रैक्टिसिंग एडवोकेट भी हूँ। तो खास ये वहां भी बताया गया कि इट्स ए चैलेंजिंग सब्जेक्ट वुमेन इन टेक्नोलॉजी विथ रेफरेंस टू NGO। और वहां कहा गया कि यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ MOU हो और ये एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ MOU हो, तो आप थोड़ा मार्गदर्शन करेंगे कि ये NGO के लिए हम कैसे थीम बनाए।
देखिए, अगर भारत के संदर्भ में हम लोग बात करें तो भारत के संदर्भ में अभी कानून बन रहा है, क्योंकि NGOs हो, एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस हो, हम सब जिस भी फील्ड में काम करते हैं तो डाटा एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट टूल है और हमें समझना होगा कि डाटा के बेसिस पर आपका भविष्य कैसा होने वाला है, या बच्चे कितने वल्नरेबल क्लास किधर एग्जिस्ट करती है, या गरीबी किधर है, तो उसका पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट दोनों है। तो सरकार के पास वो सब चीजें हैं, तो क्योंकि सरकार का तो काम है इस तरीके के लोगों तक पहुंचना, ये तो सॉवरेन फंक्शन का हिस्सा है। सरकार का मतलब ही है कि अपने देश में जो भी वल्नरेबल क्लास है उसको बचाना, उसके ऊपर कुछ भी एक्सप्लॉयटेशन या शोषण ना हो। लेकिन जब वो चीजें प्राइवेट कंपनीज के हाथ में आती हैं, तो प्राइवेट कंपनीज को आप कितना भरोसा ले सकते हैं, वो भी जो डाटा ना हिंदुस्तान में रखती है ना कहीं और रखती है और विदेशों में रखेंगी, और जहां पर किसी और को भी कंट्रोल नहीं होता, उनका टैक्स से लेके तमाम तरीके का दूसरी तरीके का काम चलता रहता है। तो ऐसे में डाटा सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी के लिए NGOs का भी वैसे ही रोल है जैसे महिलाओं का। आप कंज्यूमर कस्टमर भी हैं, आप उसके कस्टोडियन भी हैं, और आप उस डाटा को डील भी करते हैं। तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वर्क एन NGO इज डूइंग, द रोल विल कम फॉरवर्ड। अगर मतलब मान लीजिए आप चाइल्ड काउंसलिंग करते हैं, जिसमें आपके पास सेक्सुअल एक्सप्लॉयटेशन वाले बच्चे आपके पास आते हैं, ऐसा काम AIWC करती है, तो क्या उस डाटा को ऑनलाइन पब्लिक सर्वर पे रखना चाहिए? जवाब है नहीं, क्योंकि उसमें बच्चों की वल्नरेबिलिटी बढ़ती है। और दूसरा, आप अगर बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, इंटरनेट आपने खुला छोड़ा, तो क्या उनको कुछ भी सर्च करने की आजादी होना चाहिए? क्योंकि उनको तो उस उम्र में पता ही नहीं है, वो तो सब कुछ ही ढूंढना चाहते हैं, सीखना चाहते हैं, लेकिन उसके बीच में कुछ ऐसे तंत्र के माध्यम से लोग उन बच्चों को शोषण भी कर सकते हैं। तो NGO क्या काम करती है, कैसे करती है, वो आधारित होगा कि NGO की क्या जिम्मेवारी है। मगर डाटा सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी एक बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेवारी है, तो उसके लिए NGOs को भी काम करना पड़ेगा और सीखना भी पड़ेगा कि कैसे डाटा को हम सिक्योर सेफ रखें।
So, thank you, madam.
हमसे कह रही थी, तो हम पूनम से ही कहे कि जो भी हो हम नहीं जानते, जब इनको ही कोई मतलब नहीं, इनको तो पहले ही तो हम क्या होंगे।
Thank you, madam. Now I request Professor Parmal Vyasuji. He is a Vice Chancellor at Vadodara University. Sir, Parmal Vyasuji.
नमस्कार नमस्कार। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। इनफैक्ट मीनाक्षी जी को तो हम बहुत सारी डिबेट में टेलीविजन पे हम देखते हैं। मीनाक्षी जी, मैं एक ऐसा विश्वविद्यालय को लीड करता हूँ, आपको बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। महाराजा सयाजीराव विश्वविद्यालय, जिनमें हमारे पहले कुलगुरु प्रोफेसर हंसाबेन मेहता थे, और शी वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन which has been prepared for our country along with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar जी। एक विषय जिसको लिख करके, क्योंकि मैं प्रबंधन का प्राध्यापक हूँ, तो आपने कुछ ई कॉमर्स की बात करी, ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग की। एज ए कस्टमर जब आपने इनिशियल शुरू किया, एक जो मेरी एक ऑब्जर्वेशन है, थोड़ा विषय से थोड़ा मैं हटके एक बात आप सबके साथ रखना चाहता हूँ। बहुत सारे आपने पहलू रखे हैं। मेरे ख्याल से मेरे विश्वविद्यालय में 61% फीमेल स्टूडेंट्स काम करती है। 61% फीमेल स्टूडेंट्स है मेरे पास पढ़ती है 47,000 स्टूडेंट्स में से, और जो पूरा 3,000 का जो स्टाफ है उसमें से 58% फीमेल स्टाफ है। एक जो कठिनाई मैं जो आप सबके साथ शेयर करता हूँ, क्योंकि आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी से बिलोंग करती है, मीनाक्षी जी, जो पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, ये तो गवर्नमेंट सेटअप की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। एक जो कठिनाई मैं जो अनुभव कर रहा हूँ, जिसके बारे में हमें बहुत गौर से नए तरीके से सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये बात उभर के आती नहीं है। जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, जो इस विश्वविद्यालय हो, स्कूल हो, कॉलेज हो या इंडस्ट्री कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर की बात करें, तो जो पूरा जब उसका जो प्लानिंग होता है या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल रिसोर्सेज जो हम क्रिएट करते हैं, वो नॉर्मली मेल्स के लिए होता है, फीमेल्स के लिए नहीं होता है। तो जो कंफर्ट जोन होता है ना, उसमें बड़ी दिक्कतें आ रही है। जैसे मेरे विश्वविद्यालय की बात करूं तो गर्ल्स हॉस्टल, बड़ी दुख के साथ कह रहा हूँ, क्योंकि हमें गर्ल्स हॉस्टल्स में इतनी सारी फीमेल्स की स्ट्रेंथ बढ़ रही है, उस कंपैरिजन में मैडम हॉस्टल्स नहीं बढ़ रहे। तो ये एक मेरा एक निवेदन था। और दूसरा, मैं मानता हूं कि वेंकट जी, ये जो 1-1.5 घंटा इतना बढ़िया कैनवास उन्होंने बना के दिया है, मुझे नहीं लगता कोई भी एरिया मीनाक्षी जी ने छोड़ा है। और बहुत सारी एफर्ट्स इनकी 1 घंटे की जो प्रेजेंटेशन थी उसमें हमें देखने को मिली। तो इफ यू कैन लिस्ट आउट सम ऑफ द एरियाज, क्योंकि कई बार जब रिसर्च की बात आती है, विश्वविद्यालय में अनुसंधान की बात होती है, तो उसमें मेरे ख्याल से ये एक आज की आउटकम ये रहेगी, क्योंकि जैसे उन्होंने कुछ बहुत एम्पैथेटिकली साइबर सिक्योरिटी, डेटा साइंस की कुछ बातें बताई है। मैं मानता हूँ मिलजुल करके इस एरिया में रिसर्च हो, क्योंकि भी अवर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू बिल्ड बेटर इंडिया। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये एक बड़ी अचीवमेंट हमारे लिए हो सकती है। और मीनाक्षी जी, कभी मौका मिले तो मैं आपको विश्वविद्यालय में आप आकर के हमारा उत्साहवर्धन करें, ऐसी मेरी आपसे प्रार्थना है। और वेंकट जी, ये एक आपने ये सहयोग किया, हम मेरे जो बात करने का मौका दिया, इसलिए मैं आप सबको धन्यवाद देता हूँ। नमस्कार।
Thank you, sir. I will share madam number with you. Yes, sir. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, madam. Please go ahead.
Thank you, व्यास जी। I wanted to tell you कि मैं आपके यूनिवर्सिटी में आई हूँ।
क्या बात है, क्या बात है, हमारा सौभाग्य है।
मैं मेरा ख्याल 14 से पहले आई थी, और मैं आज अपनी एक और मित्र को याद करी थी। सुबह किसी ने उनको कमेंट किया था, स्वरूप संपत। तो स्वरूप संपत के साथ मैं आई थी एक बार, और स्वरूप जी भी वहां पर थी। एक बार या एक से ज्यादा बार आई हूँ, 2-3 बार आई हूँ एक्चुअली, 2 बार के आसपास तो पक्का आई हूँ। और आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी कहा जाए कि वर्ल्ड फेमस है। जब महिला अधिकारों की बात आती है तो आप लोगों का ऐतिहासिक रूप से आपने बहुत काम किया है, और महाराज जी का भी बहुत पुराना इतिहास है कि जब गर्ल चाइल्ड एजुकेशन और तमाम एजुकेशन की बात हुई, तो चाहे वो बी आर अम्बेडकर जी की, हंसा मेहता जी की, जैसे आपने बात कही, वो हिस्टोरिकल अचीवमेंट्स हैं। जहां तक ई कॉमर्स और बाकी चीजों का विषय था, मुझे लगता है उसके बारे में हमको डोमेस्टिक सॉल्यूशंस ढूंढने की बात है। अब वो कभी और का विषय है। मैंने जानबूझ के वो सब चीज टच नहीं किया, जब तक मतलब क्या है, हम लोगों का दिमाग की तो कमी नहीं है। मैं अभी कुछ लोग विदेशियों से मिली थी, बात किया, तो मैं उनको यही कह रही थी, मैं कहा देखो, हम हिस्टोरिकली पढ़ने लिखने वाले लोग हैं, तो नॉलेज के क्षेत्र में दिमाग के क्षेत्र में भारतीयों का कोई मुकाबला नहीं हो सकता, ना क्रिएटिविटी पर, ना इमेजिनेशन पर, और ना ही कम रिसोर्सेज में बेहतर चीज कैसे बनानी है, क्योंकि ऐतिहासिक रूप से हमने ये सब किया है। तो ब्रह्मभट्ट से लेकर आर्यभट्ट तक इसी देश की पैदाइश है, और मैं अपने आप को हड़प्पन सभ्यता का उनको अपना पूर्वज मानती हूँ। तो जो लोग उस जमाने में 90 डिग्री की सड़कें बना सकते थे कि वो राइट एंगल पर ही कटेंगी, वो आज ऐसा टाउन प्लानिंग देखकर दुख होता है। और आपके यहाँ पे एक स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर भी है, तो मेरे बड़ोदरा यूनिवर्सिटी का, तो मुझे लगता है कि जब आप इन प्रॉब्लम्स की बात कर रहे हैं तो उसके साथ ही जो टाउन प्लानिंग से लेकर बिल्डिंग प्लानिंग, प्लानर्स जो है ना वो महिलाएं नहीं है। उनको मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि वो है नहीं, वो है, लेकिन उनको उस सब्जेक्ट में इन्वॉल्व नहीं किया जाता। मतलब अब या तो मैं नियम बना दूं कि कोई भी आप स्मार्ट सिटी बनाएंगे, कोई भी आप बिल्डिंग बनाएंगे, तो 1/3 आपकी वर्कफोर्स महिलाएं होंगी। और जब महिलाओं की आप इनपुट लेंगे तो जैसे स्ट्रीट लाइट्स हैं, शैडो किधर पड़ना चाहिए, एग्जिट और इन किधर होना चाहिए, कौन सी डायरेक्शन बेहतर रहेगी ताकि सूरज की रोशनी उस समय उनको मिलती रहे, ये कोना वो कोना खाली ना रह जाए जो महिलाओं के लिए इनसिक्योर हो, या टॉयलेट की बनावट किस, मतलब छोटी सी बात, मैं क्योंकि अब पब्लिक लाइफ में हूँ तो आए दिन स्वच्छ भारत होता है तो टॉयलेट का इनॉग्रेशन करने भी जाते हैं और टॉयलेट बनवाते भी हैं। कई बार बनने की स्टेज पे मेरा इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होता क्योंकि वो म्युनिसिपैलिटी का काम होता है, मैंने तो खाली पैसा सैंक्शन किया तो म्युनिसिपैलिटी बनाएगी। लेकिन जब कई बार इनॉग्रेशन की स्टेज पे गई तो डिप्टी कमिश्नर या कमिश्नर कोई उपस्थित रहता है तो मेरा झगड़ा हो जाता है कई बार कि भाई आपने इसका ना मुंह गलत बनाया है। बोलेंगे कैसे गलत बनाया? मैंने कहा भाई महिलाओं वाला पीछे मत बनाओ, महिलाओं वाला अंधेरे की दीवार की तरफ मत बनाओ, वो सड़क की तरफ मुंह करके बनाओ ताकि उसमें सेफ्टी रहे। पुरुषों का पीछे करो कि उनको घूम के पीछे जाना पड़े, और महिलाओं का हमेशा आप सड़क की तरफ बनाओ, कौन अंदर गया कौन बाहर आया इस बात का ध्यान रहे, कोई पुरुष गलती से ना घुस जाए, कोई अंदर कुछ और कैमरा फिट ना कर जाए, कोई अंदर खींच के ना ले जाए। तो इसलिए आपको महिला सेफ्टी का ध्यान रखना है। तो लाइट जिधर पड़ रही है महिलाओं वाला दरवाजा उस तरफ होना चाहिए, घूम के जाने का काम पुरुषों का है, वो पीछे से जा सकते हैं। छोटी सी बात है, पर मैं उदाहरण इसलिए दे रही थी कि टाउन प्लानिंग, सिटी प्लानिंग, बिल्डिंग प्लानिंग, यूनिवर्सिटी प्लानिंग, लैब प्लानिंग, टॉयलेट प्लानिंग, इस सब में जब तक आप महिलाओं का योगदान या साझा नहीं करेंगे वो प्लानिंग की दुविधा रहेगी। और आप कहते हैं 60% से ऊपर 61-63% आपके यहाँ महिलाएं हैं, तो किसी ने तो सोचा नहीं होगा कि 50% भी होंगी। तो इसलिए जब यूनिवर्सिटी बनी होगी तो लगा होगा 2-4-5 कमरे दे दो काम चल जाएगा। 8% महिलाएं हो जाएंगी तो सोचा नहीं होगा। आने वाला जमाना फर्क होगा, वो पहले महिलाओं की प्लानिंग करेगा।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने मार्गदर्शन किया, पक्का हम उसके ऊपर आगे चलेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Now I request we have another Vice Chancellor, Professor K.R. Sambasivara from Mizoram Central University. Sambasivara ji, are you there? Please unmute yourself. Sambasivara ji, are you there? So, it seems he's not available. So now, yes. So now I request Gayatri ji from Madhya Pradesh. Gayatri ji, please ask direct question. So we are really running short of time.
Pranam Meenakshi ma'am, my pranam to you and everybody on this platform. I don't have a question, ma'am. I only have a request to you. I only have a request to you, ma'am. And thank you so much for celebrating women here on this platform. I live in a rural area in Madhya Pradesh. You might have heard the place Amarkantak, the origin of the holy river Narmada.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, I live amidst forest. You told about culture and tradition and values being transferred from one generation to other through women. I have seen it here, and the women of this area, they are so strong physically as well as mentally. But having said that, I would say that people like you should motivate the girls of this area. The digital divide that exists, that must be completely wiped out. Only then we can attain an Atmanirbhar Bharat. because this is what I see in front of my eyes. If you could hold talks with the rural girls, if that is there in your ambit, please, it's my request. Please do it, because girls of this area, they need role models like you. And I'm sure that personalities like you can bring greater changes in this area. You know, these girls are sitting on the top of tons of skills and talent in them. Somewhere it should not go unnoticed. I'm a teacher for the past 24 years, and I see this in front of my eyes. So people like you, I wish if you start some motivational talks for these girls, you know, this is my request. I don't have any questions for you. You have said so much about women, and thank you so much for celebrating women. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna ji. Thank you so much, Venkat ji. Thank you.
So thank you, madam. Thank you, Gayatri ji. So now I request Himal Pandey ji. Himal Pandey ji, please unmute yourself and ask direct question.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful talk. My question to you is that when a woman enters a professional life, she is mostly expected to confine herself to the image of her profession, and she has to leave her hobbies. So what is your advice on this?
No advice, because I think if you choose to have a certain profession, I mean, so I come from a very formal profession of being a lawyer. And so when you are appearing in the court, you have to look a certain way. And that is only right, I feel, because that's the formality of the job. But when you're home, when you're with friends, when you're with like people my age with children and other people, then you're free to behave the way you want to, and you can carry on with your hobby. And at times, I would make another suggestion that you can make your hobby your profession. So I remember having this conversation long back with a gentleman. I will not name him, but he used to be a debater from Jadavpur University. And I was a debater in Delhi University and Hindu College. And that is after many years, like 25 years, 20 years or so on and so forth. And as university, you end up crossing each other. Most of the debates, you have those very sets of people debating in this university, that college, everywhere. You have the similar kind of people, peer group. So when you meet each other after 20 years, 25 years, that person had done well for himself, and he said, where are you and what are you doing? So my answer was, I still debate. So he said, what? I say, yeah, I'm a lawyer. So I have converted my hobby into my profession. So maybe if you have those choices to do, you can always make your hobby your profession. Then that conflict will not be there. But I feel profession is profession, and you have to be, if to excel in any profession, you have to be passionate about it. Otherwise, you do things only with the intention of earning money and survival skill. That's a separate story, but kind of satisfaction you get even after making less money is different. It's very different, because you feel for certain things and you're passionate about them.
Thank you, madam. Now Vice Chancellor is there with us, Professor Samsarao ji. Samsarao ji, please unmute yourself, make a quick comment.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna, and thank you, Madam. You have given a wonderful narration about women's role in technology. It was true. A few comments about our Northeast states, particularly with reference to Mizoram. In Mizoram, we all said in India, Mahatma Gandhi said that India has got true independence when women can walk in the midnight at 2 o'clock, at 12 o'clock. But it is not true at many states, but in Mizoram and many of the Northeast states, women can go at any time at 12 o'clock, even alone, they can walk, and there is no such women harassment, these things. And in Northeast India is playing a very beautiful role. And they are given very good respect. They are playing their family responsibility, business responsibility, and many responsibilities. Women has come up nicely. And I also would like to many of the people, particularly to all of the women entrepreneurs and women parents, that out of in the almost more than 100 years prize, than 15 Nobels, women Nobel are there. And then times in physics, chemistry, and science and technology, they alone got a Nobel Prize. Also in India, more than 20 scientists in different science and technology fields, Bhatnagar Award is there. They are picked very nicely, and no inferior. And government of India has been giving due importance for women entrepreneurs. Salary is also been, and when this skill program also, men are given priority in prize, and they are given equal priority to men. And I that harassment, harassment all will go very soon. And people like you are the lead, and about this women leading science. Soon India will become the leading country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
So,
So,
Mr. Rao, all I can say is that I grew up in Delhi, and Delhi is truly the crucible for the whole of the country. So we never grew up with any differences. We grew up with north, east, west, south. Everyone is just one. And in my college, we had adequate exposure to students from across the country and across the globe. So this was a very satisfying years in Delhi, because I had many friends, sometimes younger, sometimes seniors, from Manipur to Mizoram, and Northeast societies were initially primarily very matriarchal societies also. And when you live with nature and you are more close to nature, then there is a different kind of equality in the system, and it gets ingrained. And so to you and to Gayatri ji, to Professor Rao and Mr. Gayatri ji, all I need to say is that I take your suggestions very seriously, and I travel the globe and across the country. In better times, let's hope, when I have any such opportunity to interact with students from across the country, I will be happy to do that interaction, and will be very, very pleased. And thank you for all the compliments you both have passed on to me. I take it with a lot of humility.
thank you, madam, and thank you, sir, Samsarauji. Madam, what we will do is we will take two questions together so that we can save the time. Now, I request Professor Arun Patnaik. He is the Dean at Hyderabad Central University. So, Arunji, please unmute yourself and ask direct to question.
Yeah, thank you. I must thank Meenakshi ji for a very brilliant presentation. I am not a scientist. I know much less about science and technology, but I got very interesting philosophical points in your lecture. And two important takeaways today, in my view. I am a student of political philosophy. I understand that issue much better than science. One, you said equality leads to prosperity, which nothing can be said better than that. Second point, which is interesting for me, that takes me back to Aristotle. You said life skills can be basis for scientific or theoretical skills, which I think is a very remarkable thesis that actually originally said by Aristotle, how good sense in life, people's experience can be the basis of our philosophical wisdom. So that therefore your point is very akin to father of political science, that is Aristotle. And I am very impressed by your presentation, especially the philosophical points in your lecture were extremely stimulating. And I must thank you for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I request Dr. Mani. I think she is the Professor Nagamani from Hyderabad Central University. Nagamani ji, please ask direct question.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Well explained the women mind and other things. So my question or request is that, as you said, your dream is to make the robotics involvement in the school dropout things. Yeah, if that is the case, I would like to participate in this thing because my domain is also in robotics. I'm from AI and other activities and also works in the speech area. So actually my thought is to bring the women who dropped out for the engineering and other people to involve them in a technical or entrepreneurship kind of thing. If you give an opportunity, definitely I would like to work in it. So your opinion kindly sing. That's a request. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Dr. Nagamani ji. Now I request Ram Mohan Roy ji, and I request women participants because we have many women participants. So I request if you want to interact with Meenakshi ji, we are more encouraged. We should encourage you. So now I request Ram Mohan Roy ji. Please ask a direct question. Ram Mohan Roy ji.
जी हेलो
हेलो
जी जी सब जी मेरी आवाज आ रही है जी सबसे पहले मैं तो मिथिला क्षेत्र से आता हूं बिहार से सबसे पहले तो आपको मैं अपने भाषा में प्रणाम करै छी
प्रणाम
और उसके बाद बात आती है थोड़ा सा मैं सुन रहा था विश्वविद्यालय की बात आई तो हमारे मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय में भी महिलाओं के लिए कोई विशेष व्यवस्था अभी तक नहीं है मुझे घूमने का मौका मिला है मैं सभी जगह गया हूं बहुत सारे कॉलेजों पे भी गया हूं और मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय का जो दरभंगा में विश्वविद्यालय है वहां पे भी जाके मैंने देखा है और खास करके रूरल एरियाज में भी टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में महिलाओं को समझने में काफी ज्यादा दिक्कत आ रही है बहुत ज्यादा वो समझ नहीं पाते हैं और जो जिनके समझ में भी आ रहा है वो भी टेक्नोलॉजी का दुरुपयोग कर रहे हैं तो इस बारे में आप कुछ सुझाव दें धन्यवाद प्रणाम
ओके जी
Venkat ji, is that it?
Yes, madam. We have a Dr. George. Are you there, George ji? It seems he cannot raise hand. George ji, please unmute yourself. So this is the last question.
Oh, okay. Audible, sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Please go ahead. Please ask a direct question.
Yeah. Really, first of all, I read a sloka from ancient times. Karyeshu mantri, karaneshu dasi, bhujeshu mata, shayaneshu ramba. It means in ancient times also, women have been praised by all means, by stages wise. Really, first of all, most respected Meenakshi ji, I would like to very much your inspired speech or inspired delivered. I am from Andhra Pradesh, HOD, Dr. George. I really appreciate you how woman empowerment only because of economical sources, educational sources, and other political sources. How to overcome these three sources, as well as in our India, 20 to 30% of the people belong to SCs and STs women.
In these circumstances, you must think about these below poverty line women and how to encourage and how to hand it over the empowerment of this country. Really, I would like to very much you and your profession as MP and as well as an advocate. And also, I would like to very much present Bharatiya Janata Party government. I really appreciate you in the same time who conducted the meeting this Dr. Venkat Krishna also really services mind and also work hard mind. I
Thank you, sir.
really, please give me answer, ma'am. Please, how to grow up, how to develop
Thank you.
these particular downtrodden ladies.
Sir, thank
Okay.
you, sir. Thank you very much. Madam, you want to reply? Meenakshi ji?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Namaskar. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Professor Patnaik on his theory bit. I would say that cross-discipline interactions is another thing which artificial intelligence and the suite of technology offers us to interact. And I usually have this argument that most of the people who are developing technologies have no knowledge about law, political science, and political thought. And that is why sometimes their interaction with technology or implication for society is missed out from them, and they only think like mathematical skills and work on their analytical skills, which they work on, and without appreciating the other skills. So I think political science, political theory, Aristotle to Plato, these are things which people like you can teach and interact with and make technologies more suitable for the social fabric, which we all need to protect. The second aspect was Professor Dr. Nagmani, who very kindly came forward to assist and help in developing a robotics and AI center. I take her suggestion and opinion very kindly, and I'll request Venkatji to share her number and details with me. I don't know how we will interact across states, but I definitely appreciate any helping hand anywhere. So I would definitely love to interact with her whenever it's possible and whenever time and opportunity comes. Last but not the least, Professor Dr. George, who very kindly recited a shlok from Sanskrit and talked about Dalit women. So I would only say that when it comes to issues of Dalit, etc., I think a lot of schemes which government has run in terms of, there are various stratifications. So when I say Dalit, all Dalits fall in that category, answer is quite clearly no. Not all Dalits fall in the same category. And the stratification is in terms of those who have got benefit and opportunities in life. Now, when we talk of a saint and a learned man like Tukaram ji to Dr. Ambedkar, they definitely were not in the disabled classes, but they were in the empowered classes who could enable people like you and me put together. But there is a stratification which needs help, and that stratification is probably, in my opinion, I feel it is due to less degree of opportunities in life and security, whether it's economic or social or various economic, mostly, or educational for that matter. And we need to bridge those gaps. Once we are able to bridge those gaps, people of their own will rise in this country. And as an Indian, I take a lot of pride in the fact that we are blessed to be born in a country which has a few thousand years of history. And we taught the world philosophy. Unfortunately, that our Sankhiki to all other forms of philosophy have not been made syllabus of in our education system. We taught technology to the world, which is very evident from the temples, which historical places which exist. But we also understand that when we were an economic might, we were not a political might. And when we were a political might, the economic mights were not there like it's today. So we need to be an economic might, political might, and educational might, and go back to claiming our history. And just today, as it will happen, I was reading about Krishna Dev Rai. Since you all come from Andhra, so close by that area, you would understand where it's coming from. So Krishna Deva Rai, who converted Vidyanagar into Vijayanagar, but with our incapacities, we have converted into Vinashnagar. We have not reclaimed our areas. We've not reclaimed our scriptures. We have not reclaimed our science and technology. And we take pride in global stuff, which is nothing but theft from our own country. So I think, and whenever children are given a laptop or a tablet in their hands, I shudder, because I feel the development of their brains has to be before they can be handed these stuff, because it's the brain, it's the human brain which has constructed all this. And especially coming from a land like ours, where in Andhra, I believe there is a village which produces mathematicians after mathematicians. There are such brilliant children coming out of one small village, and Shakuntala Devi's village is in Andhra Pradesh. So I think as an Indian, I take a lot of pride in these facts, and I feel Brahmbhatt to Aryabhatt have been born in this country, and so many women rishis have been produced by this country. So this is the time to reclaim our heritage, own it, and see to it that we base our future on these foundations and take the civilization forward. So women in our philosophy as a political party, but we also have a sociological philosophy which all of us undertake, and that is, we call it Ekat Manavad and Antyodaya. Ekat Manavad means this whole philosophy about being oneness of existence. So if I end up hurting anyone, if my toe of the foot is getting hurt, that doesn't mean my brain is not pained. My whole body will respond to it, because it's a oneness of the system. And that's how countries have to be, that every society, every social being has to be part of the same oneness. If one section is hurting the other, that means the whole country is getting impacted. So you can't be happy by making me unhappy. We have to work together. So whether it's a class divide, caste divide, gender divide, we should not labor on hurting each other. We should labor on working cohesively with each other, and that will take the country forward, and which will make everyone, it will make India a happy place to live. So Ekat Manava, that humanity lies in being one and oneness. The second part of the philosophy is Antyodaya. That means Antim Pankti mein khada Antim Vyakti, the last person in the last row, is who you need to look after as a political leader. So Antim Vyakti mein khada Antim Vyakti is none other than a woman, and we all must work for that. So women by and large are the last people, and in that also, if there is a class divide, gender divide, so on and so forth, again they will be further pushed back, and that pushback has to come from the women themselves by training each other. And children, women who are falling back from gentlemen from Mithila, Darbhanga said that girl children are misusing the technology. I mean, they are not trained to use technology, and those who are using technology are actually misusing technology. And that's where misuse comes from. गलत इस्तेमाल तो उन लोगों से आता है क्योंकि टेक्नोलॉजी है, इस्तेमाल करने वाले का दिमाग किधर है, वो तय करता है कि क्या उसको सर्च करना है, क्या देखना है। मैं हंस के कभी कभी कहती हूँ कि भाई पॉर्न है, बाकी चीजें, ये सब चीजें अवेलेबल है, बट people like me will never search for it. But it depends on your own mindset, what you're searching for and where you're going to use technology. Can't blame technology for that. It's the people who are misusing it. And that's where I said that those who are learned, men and women, they have to teach children at a younger age do's and don'ts of going online, offline, and up to a certain age, I believe that less use of technology is better, especially with mental math skills and all, is much better than using a computer or a calculator. Your brain stops functioning, like it has happened with most of us. I used to remember so many phone numbers. Now I don't remember that many phone numbers because of the smartphones we've all got hooked on to. So technology should come, but come at a later stage when mind is bright enough with all the smart classes, etc. I still feel mental maths and such skills should be induced in children, which we are lacking today. With these words, thank you very much. And what a pleasant interaction with all the learned men and women. I'm grateful to Venkat Krishna for having me over. Thank you, everyone. Jai Hind.
So thank you, madam. Thank you very much for accepting our request. And at the same time, I should apologize. Many senior professors and deans are there, like J.P. Dubeji from Delhi University and Professor Tej Pratap Singh ji from Banaras Hindu University, Nitesh Purohit ji from IIIT Allahabad, and Shivaram Prasad ji from Acharya Naga Jain University. Like many deans are there, but we could not get a chance to interact with them due to shortage of time. So before that, before concluding session, I request Senior Professor Professor Sunita Mishra ji. She is a Dean at Ambedkar University, Lucknow, to give vote of thanks. Hand over to Sunita Mishra ji.
Yes. I'm audible?
Yes, madam, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Towards Better India, today, honorable speakers of today, Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi, Honorable Member Lok Sabha and Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, who delivered her addresses on women and technology in New India. And it was organized by TBI, that is Toward Better India, and distinguished guests who were present online and other online participant. Myself, Professor Sunita Mishra, Dean in Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Lucknow. First of all, I convey my heartfelt thanks to Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi ma'am, who delivered a very thought-provoking and fruitful lectures, which not only mesmerize us, but also her exuberance created positive vibes among the youth. And when we talk about, in the beginning, Mrs. Lekhi speak about the Alexa voice, is a female voice, how it used in assisting all the programs, and how equality leads to prosperity, and also women as Shakti, and as Navratra is going on, the wealth goddess Saraswati, and women running cottage industry in weaving spheres, inclusion of women in every positive, each and every way of life, in every spheres of life. Under 30 years, how women occupies 40% of the IT sector, and how women push boundaries in their respective fields. So that is also her expertise, and also she speak about the value of time, and also she spoke value time. In time you all will be valued. Yes, towards Better India, using the power of constructive journalism, wants to showcase everything that is available in the country, which can fulfill the dreams. And it successfully combines the technology whether it is related to all spheres of life, growing business model with a huge social impact. And this towards Better India facilitate consulting jobs, earth-friendly products, pet-friendly products, and also green innovation. And Better India also needs a cleaner India that needs cleaner and eco-friendly homes where where we can live, where we can use all the positive impact that comes within the home also. They all combine to lead us to a better future. So I thank all the participants, especially ma'am, and all the organizer, Mahesh ji, Venkata Krishnan ji, and others dignitaries. And take care yourself in this COVID-19 pandemic period. My best wishes to all of you. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Thank you, Sunitaji. Thank you very much. And I again, thanks to Meenakshi ji for accepting our request. And we should be thankful to her. And madam, we will be in touch with you. We need some more lectures from you in the future also on the platform of Towards Better India. And I also thank everyone for joining this session. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Okay.